Little did George Stephenson know that when he travelled with Nicholas Wood to meet Edward Pease in Darlington, that he was going to change the modern world. Edward Pease was a Quaker industrialist based on Teesside, and a great owner of a number of collieries in southwest Durham. Of course, the Industrial Revolution was just starting to get going. There was a great demand for coal, and he needed to get his coal to market, to Stockton and the sea beyond. So there was an imperative to improve transport links. He had already obtained parliamentary approval for a canal, but George Stephenson embarked on the journey to persuade Pease that in fact a railway was going to be a far better option. George Stephenson said to Pease that a locomotive could do the work of 50 horses, and he was so convincing that Pease embarked upon commissioning George Stephenson to build the railway from Darlington to Stockton. George embarked upon the survey work, and he was helped by his young son, Robert Stephenson, who was to go on to be one of the greatest engineers of the 19th century. The work commenced on track laying in 1822. The line was ready on the 27th of September 1825. Locomotion number 1 pulled Experiment, the passenger carriage, and 25 other coal wagons fitted with seats, 9 miles down the new line. The new railway passenger age had begun. George Stephenson had perfected steam engines in mines in northeast England, but he had cast his mind to locomotives, which were he saw as a great advantage to haul coal around the coalfields and to the staiths in northeast England. And of course, it was the Stockton and Darlington Railway that enabled him to widen his horizons as far as railway engines and schemes. He went on from the Stockton and Darlington Railway, of course, to engineer the Liverpool-Manchester Railway, which was the first intercity rail in the world. George Stephenson also persuaded Edward Pease that locomotives were the way forward, and he persuaded Pease to form a company called Robert Stephenson and Company, which went on throughout the 19th and early 20th century, manufacturing locomotives here in Newcastle that went all over the world. And of course, Robert Stephenson, the great civil engineer, he was the first managing partner. He became managing partner of Robert Stephenson and Company when he was 19 years old. And it was Pease that loaned him some money to invest in that company because he saw the potential that Robert Stephenson had as a civil engineer. Of course, Robert Stephenson was president of the Institution of Civil Engineers in 1854. George was very keen that Robert should have a good education. He recognised that engineering, the Industrial Revolution, were going to need engineers and innovation. And in fact, that started very much with George and Robert and their generation, but it continues now into the future. And civil engineers continue to change the world that we live in. Sometimes they're quite glamorous projects that people are involved in, such as the Stockton and Darlington Railway, or perhaps even Crossrail today. But there are huge opportunities for young people in engineering. If we're going to solve the problems of the 21st century facing us as a society now, we're certainly going to need more engineers and more civil engineers.